Hi, I'm Borrill, motoring editor of GQ magazine, and today I'm sitting in the Renault Clio RS Gordini. Clios have never really been taken seriously by motoring enthusiasts, and that's because the Clio is often considered a female car. However, if you know your Renaults, you'll know that there are a few badass models, which are pretty lethal on the track. The Clio R27 and the Clio RS both spring to mind, and continuing with this notion, Renault has taken it upon themselves to launch a special edition model called the Clio Gordini RS. So what is the Gordini label all about? Well, the Gordini motorsport heritage dates back to the 1950s and is arguably one of the most legendary nameplates in motorsport. Renault bought the Gordini label and entered Renault Gordini race cars at Le Mans from 1962 to 1969. The name went into hibernation for a couple of years, but Renault has relaunched it and plastered it on two of their most prestigious models, the Twingo and the Clio. The Clio is styled in typical Gordini fashion, which is underscored by blue paint and white stripes which run over the entire car. The wing mirrors and front scoop have also been treated in white, and that contrasts the blue paint quite superbly. The Gordini theme is also present inside the cabin. The seats and gear lever surrounds all boast blue leather, and the steering wheel has two white stripes at the summit of the wheel. And the cluster has a white rev counter, and the Renault Sport logo glows blue at nighttime when the lights are switched on. Like the standard RS, it employs the side extractor vents, gloss black rear diffuser, and twin tailpipe configuration. So the Gordini may look very impressive, but how is it under the hood? Let's take it for a drive and see what this thing's all about. Well, my first impressions are that it revs really well from low down. It doesn't feel like a naturally aspirated car. It's very responsive. Uses a high revving 2-litre naturally aspirated motor that makes 147.5 kilowatts at 7,100 RPM and 250 Newton meters of torque. Well, what does that all mean? Well, that means that the Clio can go from 0 to 100 in 6.9 seconds, and if you mash the throttle, it can go on to reach a top speed of 225 kilometers per hour. The thing is, this Clio is not just about sprinting. It's not a natural sprinter. This car was meant to be taken around the track, and its track-honed chassis and handling makes it an absolute joy just to throw it around the corners. The engine makes a beautiful, throaty sound as well, and it just urges you on to push the car to its limits. And that's probably where you can get into a bit of trouble. The car doesn't feel like it's going to lose grip or lose its footing. It just makes you want to push it further and further. A nice touch is on the top of the steering wheel, there are these two little white stripes over here, and they act like crosshairs almost. So as you go through a corner, you can point where you want to put the car, stamp the throttle, and that's it. You can just plant the car as hard as you want, and it just goes and goes and goes. Now, a couple of years ago, I got to drive the Renault Clio Sport R27 around Kyalami, and that car handled magnificently. With this model, it feels almost identical. And I'd like to see the differences between these two cars around the track. The suspension though is very hard. You can feel every bump on the road, and that can annoy some people, but for me it just makes me want to take this car around the track, and it makes me want to drive it harder and harder. This isn't a car that you're going to drive slowly, and your petrol bill is probably going to increase as well. Surprisingly though, the car only uses about 8.2 litres per 100 kilometers of fuel, and that's on the combined cycle. Now, for a car this fast, you'd need it to stop quite effectively, and Renault have thought of everything. They've used a 4-pot Brembo braking system up front, and that lets the car stop on a dime, and you're not going to get into any hairy situations. Although designed for the track, the Renault Clio RS Gordini is no slouch in a straight line, and can upset many cars from a traffic light. And I'm going to try and do an acceleration burst from standstill using the short throw gearbox to see what I can do. Let's take it. It's all the way to 7,000 RPM, and you get this little beep telling you when to change gears. What's really nice about this gearbox is that it's got a short throw action straight through the gate, which means that it's going to save time on your upshifts. Just listen to that engine. How any enthusiast can think that the Clio is a girl's car is completely beyond me. It's really the real deal. The Clio RS Gordini may not be the cheapest super mini hatch, but it punches well above its weight in a segment ruled by turbocharged and supercharged vehicles. At 279,900 Rand, the Gordini is pretty pricey, but you can't put a price on a veritable hot hatch, and that's exactly what the Clio Gordini is, a proper hot hatch. It's arguably the most entertaining car I've driven all year.